What's up, folks? Hello, everybody, and welcome to Against the Fence, where, of course, this is the place to be if you're obsessed and passionate about the UFC. And tonight, we're going to be recapping the events of UFC 288. We're going to be lots to talk about, as always, plenty of topics. We're going to be talking about Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley, how that fight lines up, when's it going to be, and some of the things that have come post Cejudo Sterling fight, and then we're going to get into Henry Cejudo's call out of Merab Dvalishvili, and Henry Cejudo's had a call out himself from someone else. We'll get into that a little bit later on as well. We've got the bantamweight GOAT status. We're going to touch upon that because of Aljamain Sterling's success against Triple C, and then we'll maybe touch upon Leon Edwards and his acceptance of the Colby Covington fight, and of course the updated rankings from UFC.com. But before we get into the recap from the main card, we'll probably touch upon some of the things that happened in the prelims. We've got to give a good shout out, of course, to Kennedy and Cejudo for getting the job done against Devin Clark via submission guillotine round 2. That was pretty naughty. And of course, Matt Frevola, who's been on the channel before, defeating Drew Dober round 1 TKO against a Drew Dober who arguably has had more experience than Frevola. Probably, I think he was the favourite. Drew Dober was definitely the favourite in that fight. But look, I had faith in Frevola the whole time, and he got the knockout victory. And of course, some may say it was an early stoppage. Ash felt it was an early stoppage at the time. I did as well. I felt that perhaps it looked like Drew Dober was about to get back to his feet. But nonetheless, a clean shot from Frevola, and he moves on. And in fact, he's now ranked in the lightweight division. Now, we haven't got the lightweight division at the moment tonight on the scores, but I can tell you that he has moved into rank 14. If you're not aware already. So I guess what's next for him? He called out Paddy Pimblett again. He's obsessed with getting this Paddy Pimblett fight. You could argue that now Frevola should be fighting somebody who's trying to claim his spot in the ranking, so maybe it could be Paddy Pimblett eventually down the line. Who knows? It could also be Grant Dawson, who's sitting in at number 15, so who knows? Lots to talk about there, of course. Yes, the guys are coming in. Let's get them flowing. All right, JK says Nolan Zebra. Yes, Nolan. Fist pump to you, my man. Hope you're doing well. When you get a time after the stream, drop us a message, because I want to find out the update on you, of course, because you had some big things happening for you on Friday, so keep us updated with that, my man. Yes, James MMA, he's in the house as well, and judging from that comment, I'm guessing that maybe perhaps he's in for Frevola there. He's a big Frevola fan as well after that win against Drew Dober. And of course, Ash is in the house as well. Yes, Ash, good to see it as always. Buzzing for this weekend, guys, buzzing for this weekend, but we'll get more into that a little bit later on then. I guess we should probably kick things off then and look into the main card, so to speak. And of course, Charles Jourdain picking up the decision win against Kron Gracie. Mate, I'm not surprised. I'm honestly not surprised by that victory at all. I had Charles Jourdain winning that fight, of course. Kron Gracie been out for a while. Kron Gracie's not got great striking at all. It's whether he's not got great wrestling either. It's just the jiu-jitsu elements. He's had wealth of experience in competition jiu-jitsu. Needs to fine-tune the things towards MMA. And, you know, when we look at what's next for him then, is he going to return is the ultimate question, I guess, for Kron. But first, we'll get into Charles Jourdain. Who do we want to see Charles Jourdain fight? He now moves into 14-6-1. Got some banging fights for him. I've got two. My first one will be Billy Quantillo. His fight, it's a fight of the ages. It is. That one. Both guys like to come forward, swang and bang, put on a show for the fans. It's a fight of the night honours there and then, without a doubt, hands down. Quintillo is coming off of a loss against Edson Barbosa, which was last month. However, he might need some time off a bit longer. So may or may not happen. Who knows? Who knows? You know, it could very well happen towards the end of the summer. There's no doubt about that. Yes, of course. Hello, DJ The Wolf is in the house. Yes, DJ The Wolf, good to see you back as always, my man. How did you make of the fights? I don't think you tuned into the watch along. We didn't see you, but yeah, if you caught up with the fights, let us know what you've made of them, and of course, chime in with your opinions, because fan opinions matter most as we go along through this Aftermath show. Yes, Nolan, brother, good stuff, my man. Good picture. Yeah, mate, I've picked some bangers tonight. Picked some big ones. Flying here, of course. There's, didn't land flush, but it's a picture perfect one, isn't it? I should probably look this way, shouldn't I? Gracie was, says James MMA. He was, and I think you're probably going to enjoy some of the matchups that I've got for him. But my second option for Charles Jourdain would be Bill Alagio, who fought on the same card as Quintillo last month. I think it was 15th of April. So the stars could align. He's came off that for submission win against TJ Brown. Very long striker. He's had some ups and downs in his MMA career. I think he lose to Alex Caceres, if I remember rightly, as my webpage loads for not Charles Jourdain. For Bill Alagio. I like Bill Alagio. He's quite an entertaining fighter, to be honest. It was Andre Feely he lost to by split decision. TKO'd Herbert Burns, which was a great fight, and unanimous decision against Jonathan Brito. So, yeah, he's had some tough ones. He's entertaining to watch, and, yeah, I would say those two pair up quite nicely. What do you reckon? Smash a like on the video if you've not done so already. What are you on about, Ash? Bellator or JK? Yeah, mate, give me some context. They were good, says DJ The Wolf. Fights, yeah, not too bad. This fight card is going to be this weekend's fight card. I think is going to be off the hook. So yeah, definitely make sure you're tuning in for that one. Yes, it's slightly earlier, but look, we've got fun and games happening at the watch along as well. So that's a must watch along. It's going to be the best. It's going to be the best one yet. 100%. We've got a guest fighter joining us on the sofa. And there'll be more coming out about that, hopefully in the next few days. James May saying, yes, Ash, get him out the UFC. Oh, okay. So you're referring to Gracie going to Bellator. Maybe. I know. I think, what was it, 2-2 now for Kron? Yeah, slim pickings. I guess after that performance, you could say that. But I reckon I'll give him one more shot. Personally. And the shots that I've got for him would be our shout out to Angus, our writer, ATF, MMA.co.uk, or .com even, sorry, .com. He picked this one out, so I'm stealing it, which would be Ryan Hall. I think Ryan Hall versus Kron Gracie makes sense as a grappling warfare. Okay. Maybe it's not good for those fans that don't like the grappling aspects of the game. But then again, they could cancel each other out and it could be just a poor striking match. Who knows? So maybe the UFC wouldn't be inclined to make that fight happen. But, if you're hardcores like me and the rest of the guys like Sai and Ash, then, of course, you're going to love that fight. On paper, it makes sense and it looks good. And no one wants to fight Ryan Hall. It's hard to get that guy a fight. So I think Kron Gracie's game as they come, he would accept that. So let's make it happen. Now that Kron Gracie's back, of course, if he's going to stay back. DJ The Wolf says, I will be watching them this weekend. Yes, my man. And you know where to be when the fights are on. We're going to have a full 6-hour watch along from the prelims all the way through to the main event. And there's going to be spinning wheel games. There's going to be, of course, we got a guest fighter in the house. So if you've seen the spinning wheel games before, you will know that there's some elements of the spinning wheel which include sparring, that will include taking leg kicks, and we've got a fighter in the house. So if you want to see a fighter, he's a big guy. Should we put any hints out? Let's put some hints out. Okay, he's a light heavyweight. So imagine a light heavyweight throwing kicks on myself, Sai, and Ash. Mate, it's money. That's where you need to be. You want to see that. Yeah, 100% want to see that. And of course, this is the place to be for that. Did I hear you have a fighter with you? Yes, we will. In fact, me and Sai went out with him at the weekend. But yes, he will be on the sofa joining us, not through the screen on the yes, in the sofa, James. I know, for the first time ever, and it's not going to be on the screen with us, so it's going to be insane, mate. I can't wait. Book it. Yes, Angus, says James. So look, James is on top of Angus's pick with Ryan Hall there as well. Nolan Zebra saying, well, that's 6 hours of my Saturday sorted. Yes, sorting out Nolan Zebra with the goodness, of course. And maybe Nolan won't be drinking with us, but who knows. Angus is in the house. He says, evening, JK. Another night of copying my matchmaking article, I see. Mate, I only looked at it for the first time. This is the first time I actually looked at it straight after or before an Aftermath show. And look, I've got to give you props, of course. I'm just trying to, get these guys heading over to your articles. That's what it's all about. But thanks for chiming in, my man. And, of course, let's give Angus some love in the chat. But my second option, which, of course, I'm not sure if Angus had in his article, actually, so I've gone for an alternative one, would be Chase Hooper. Kron Gracie, okay. Yes, okay, Chase is a little bit younger than Kron, quite a bit. I think Kron's in his 30s. And, of course, Chase Hooper is a grappler as well, developing more and more in his striking, more so than probably Kron. So I think that's where that fight would be quite interesting, really. To see whether or not Chase Hooper can avoid the grappling, perhaps, and dish out some good strikes. But, of course, it depends on his fight against Nick Fuhrer, if I've said that right, which I think is coming up in the next couple of weeks. So, fingers crossed, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. T for me, lad, says Nolan. Okay, no problem. That's it, giving Nolan some love in the chats. Rogue shout from you there. I like Cooper versus Gracie, says Angus. There you go. You see? Not completely coppering. James says, Minna. Do you know what? I actually thought of Derek Minna, but he's no longer in the UFC. And I don't think he's had a fight on the local circuit. But it's a good shout. I know. Maybe they could bring him back for that. Because I think the UFC like to throw Derek Minna some grapplers. So, he fought Ryan Hall, and of course Ryan Hall beat him. So, yeah, I like that. I like that pick, James. Thumbs up for James, of course. Thumbs up for James. But that's all I've got for Kron Gracie in this one. Smash the subscribe button if you're just joining us and you've not joined before, and let yourself know in the chats, of course. Don't be shy. This is the channel where fan opinions matter most. And let's move on then to the rankings then in the featherweight division. Not much has changed, of course. Neither of these guys were ranked. The only featherweight on the card was Evloev, and he, of course, got the win. So no changes there. Moving on, though, to the second fight, of course, on the card. Look, another top picture, as you can see. Movsar Evloev moves to 17-0 now. Looks good. I mean, Look, I think Diego Lopes gave him his toughest test. We were very, very impressed by Diego Lopes in this. Coming in short notice and putting on a performance like that. I felt he won the fight. Now, I could be a little bit biased because we had our boy Vince Morales tuning into the fight with us during that. Much respect and much love to Vince Morales for tuning in again. And he said, look, I wanted to join you guys and you boys be the first that I speak to after my fight on ex-MMA. So that, for that warmed our hearts to that. Vince is a great guy, and he's trained with Diego Lopes in the past, and he really sold us his ability. I did tape in the weekend, of course, and I saw some good skills in there, but he really hyped him up, and look, he was no slouch at all. He gave Evloev a run for his money. But what is next for Movsar Evloev then? I think you've got to either rebook the fight with Bryce Mitchell, or, which could very well happen, I'm not sure when Bryce is going to return. It kind of still makes sense in the rankings, of course. If I go to the rankings again, I pressed the wrong button again. For the featherweight division, you've got Bryce in there, just underneath. So it's a grappling warfare. Of course, Lopes was very slick on his back. He's very good in the transitions. I think that perhaps Bryce Mitchell might add a little bit more strength in the grappling areas, and maybe might expose Evloev in those areas a little bit. So, an interesting one still, having seen that one. Lopes was 6, is Ash. Nolan says Lopes looked great apart from the chest tattoo. Yeah, okay. We know that. Yeah, it's not the greatest of tattoos, of course. But yeah, the other option for Movsar Evloev would be Calvin Kattar, actually, who sits in there at number 6. So, you know, you look at Movsar's resume at the moment, he's been absolutely killing it, of course. But the problem is he's been going to decision a lot, which is a bit of a problem, really, if you want to fight up. It's difficult. The UFC aren't going to throw you these bigger names if you just getting decisions, unfortunately. You know, if we look at his last few wins, literally one knockout. Actually, no, still yet to get a finish in the UFC. Still. So, I mean, look, come on, you got to give him his crack at the end of the day. And Calvin Kattar would be an ideal matchup, who's, I think, Calvin's coming off of 2 straight losses. So you got to fight someone who's looking to steal your spot a little bit in the upper echelon of the division, top 10. So, but the ultimate question for Calvin Kattar is he going to be able to stuff Evloev's takedowns? You know, not quite sure on the stats. I haven't got the numbers at the moment in terms of Calvin Kattar's takedown defense, but I'd imagine it's probably not too bad. I mean, in some of the fights that he's been in, he's probably not had much attempts to stuff. You know, he's fought Giga Jakadze, he fought Arnold Allen, Max Holloway, of course, as well. And I'm just looking at the numbers now. Kattar scored 2 takedowns against Giga. He got taken. The last person taken down was Zabit, and that was back in 2019. Chris Fishgold took him down. So look, his takedown defense is pretty solid. Mate, give him the fight. I think it's a good one. It's a good test. Can Evloev get him down? That's the ultimate question, guys. What do you guys reckon in the chat? Good fight, JK says. Ash, your boy Sadiq, says James. Sadiq, we want to see Sadiq back in there. He's got back problems, though. I think we're probably due to get another update from him. I think we probably checked in on him last month, and I think he even put out a tweet saying that his back's still giving him jip. So, fingers crossed we can get that Sadiq can heal up, of course. It's going to be interesting to see him break his own fight down on Unprofessional Breakdown. And if you've not checked these Unprofessional Breakdowns out, definitely do check them out at some point after the stream. And yes, of course, Nolan reckons it's a good shout as well. We got to wait for Sadiq. I think, you know, it's been a while since we've seen him in there. He's been due to fight up, but because it's been a while, maybe perhaps he might get someone lower down in the rankings, and it would be a shame to see. It would be. But who knows? Only one option for Diego Lopes. Well, potentially 2. I've got the winner of Blake Bilder versus Kyle Nelson, which is happening June 10th. Both guys are pretty tough. It's either that or you give him someone off of the Contender Series. Diego Lopes is now 21-6, but definitely keeping him around. And if you hadn't noticed, Dana White actually gave him his a win bonus because he stepped in at short notice and put on that display. So he's going to be here for the keeping, of course. But yeah, props off to that guy. But that's let's head on back then to the third fight of the night. Let me clear that chat, which of course was quite a surprising one. Didn't expect it to happen in this way. Yan Jourdain picking up the knockout against Jéssica Andrade. Now we thought that perhaps I went Andrade's knockout. I really did, because I thought after that Blanchfield fight, perhaps she's going to get back into her element a little bit and put on a bit of a showcase. But man, again, didn't get going. And this was against a striker as well this time. So the threat of the takedown wasn't there. That fight ended in the first round, of course. You may argue that was an early stoppage as well. I don't think so. I think there was a good shot from Yan Jourdain. But Yan Jourdain now moves off 2-fight win streak. And, of course, I think there's only really one option for Yan Jourdain. And Dana White, in fact, she said this on the MMA Hour yesterday, that Dana White spoke to her after the fight and said they want to do a title fight with Weili Zhang in China. Why not? Why not? Look, the UFC realise now that The competition is starting to creep up a little. Well, they're not anywhere near the UFC in terms of level, in terms of competition, or in terms of show, etc. But they're starting to make some movements. And I think the UFC have now realised that they're going to adapt their business model a little bit, hopefully move away from the... Well, we're still yet to find out if they're going to move away from the Apex, but move away from Las Vegas pay-per-views. Because, you know, yes, okay, it brings in the biggest gate, but, you know, it's all about bringing more eyeballs to the sport and giving people the rub across seas. And I think China is an ideal place. They've been to it before, of course, more events in China, but a pay-per-view in China, a title fight headliner with Weili Zhang and Yan Xiaonan is the one to make. And look, you can stuff the card as well with some absolute killers as well, Li Jingliang being one of them. So, yeah, what do you guys reckon of that one? It makes sense, does it not? She walked into that punch, a beauty, says Nolan. Ash says, yeah, we said in the breakdown she could walk in to the great striking of Yan, and she did. Yep, hats off to Ash and Sai for the breakdown, of course, which happened last week. Nolan said, I watched the stream of fights I missed on Sunday. Great work, lads. Thank you, Nolan. Thank you, as always. Love your support. But yeah, that's really the only option, because if we take a look at the rankings now, done it again. Lots have happened. Lot has happened. I'm going to look over here because it's not updated on this other screen for me. But Yan Xiaonan now moving into third. So look, that's a title fight. That's a title fight right there. Weili has beaten Rose twice now, so that's not going to happen. You've got Lemos moving down, George moving down. Jandaroba moving up 3 spots is quite surprising because she got the win against Marina Rodriguez. Bit of a fight triangle going on below there because you've got Mackenzie Dern beat Jandaroba, but then she lost to Marina Rodriguez, but Jandaroba just beat Rodriguez. So, but she's leapfrogged them, and now she's pushing, making a bit of a run now in at number 6. Tatiana Suarez has moved up to 10th for some reason. Tatiana Suarez versus Jandaroba, I think, is the fight to make there next, personally. Jiu-Jitsu against wrestling. I like it. I like it. But maybe it would be on a pay-per-view prelim, unfortunately. That's where I can see that fight happening. There you go. Adding even more fights into the mix. But what's next for Jéssica Andrade? Well, 2 straight losses now. Will she remain at strawweight is the ultimate question. What do you guys reckon? Should she stick at strawweight? Should she go back to flyweight? Because, look, you know, she lost against Blanchfield at flyweight, came back down to strawweight, now lost to Yan Xiaonan. Look, I find it hard to pick a fight for her. I really am. You know, because she's fought a lot of people. Has she fought Jennifer Maia is the ultimate question. Because Jennifer Maia's coming off a win. No, she's not fought Jennifer Maia. I'd say go up and beat Jennifer Maia. Again, someone who's probably going to look for takedowns. It's going to be a difficult fight for her. She's quite strong as well, Jennifer Maia. Difficult fight for Andrade now. Getting on a little bit. Or do you give her someone like Amanda Ribas in the flyweight division? I like that fight. I do. Ribas is good off of her back. She's good on the ground, but whether or not she can pull off anything against someone as tough and strong as Andrade, I think is the only question there. But that would be my picks personally for Andrade. But yeah, what do you guys reckon? What do you guys reckon? Smash a like on the video if you agree. And of course, all right, lads, it's Nelson, New Jersey. Yes, Wales, New Jersey's in the house, my man. What do you reckon of the fights at the weekend? Yeah, let us know any future fight predictions that you've got for these main card fighters. I've gone for Yan Xiaonan, it's the title fight against Weili Zhang, which we spoke about, and for Jéssica Andrade, it would be Amanda Ribas or Jennifer Maia at flyweight. But we're going to move on then to the co-main event. Bosh. Oh, let's get that chat down. Bring that up. Which was Belal Muhammad picking up the win, a unanimous decision win against Gilbert Burns. A little bit disappointed, of course. I was hoping Gilbert Burns was going to win. Belal Muhammad makes it 9 straight in a row now. He's finished 2 of those 9, however. But the ultimate question is, are we ready to give Belal the credit he deserves? You know? Some people may say that we were shitting on Belal. I didn't think we were shitting on Belal, to be honest, during the watch along. I think we were just a little bit disappointed by the outcome because we wanted Burns to win. But yeah, you got to give him credit. Sorry, short notice fight, straight after Ramadan, and an ankle that wasn't 100% as well. So look, props where props is due for Belal. What's also interesting from that is just the way that Belal is able to switch stance during the fight constantly. And I think that's what Burns was having trouble with, really, because he is so good at adapting out of both stances as Belal. And I think that's probably the reason why he gets a little bit underappreciated and not necessarily, you know, he doesn't get into brawls, really. I think it really, what am I getting at here? It really discourages his opponents when he's able to switch stance and work off of both. You know, because his wrestling's top notch, but he lacks that kind of X factor, really. That won't, in a way, I don't know. It's kind of hard. It's really hard to root for Belal. But look, he doesn't deserve the hate that he gets. I don't think so anyway. But, you know, Nolan says he just grinds fights out. Never going to be a fan favourite style, but definitely deserves credit. And yeah, there we go. Credit from Nolan Zebra. Played Nolan on that. Wales and Jersey said, dropped by to say what's up. Got to get back to work. See you on the weekend. My man, thanks for tuning in, Wales, man. Don't forget to slap on that like button, of course. And yeah, you make sure you are at that watch along this weekend because it's going to be absolutely off the hook. I think it's kind of obvious what's next for Belal in a way because he's going to wait out for that title fight. I mean, but then we said this though, didn't we? I think the guys probably said it during the wet breakdown show as well. Getting a win over someone like Gilbert Burns, a former title challenger, warrants you a title fight. And I think it's his time now, you know? Sit out. I think he should be the backup for Edwards Covington. I really do. And I'd imagine he will be. Because, you know, can you trust Colby? Can you trust Leon? Will Leon have his injuries? But the ultimate question there is if Leon pulls out, is Colby will Colby want to fight Belal? That's a question. You know, I can't see it. Colby's stubborn. He wants title fights or nothing. And the UFC are a sucker to it. Because he creates so much drama. You know, it is what it is. As for Gilbert Burns, though, I think I've got some 2 horrible fights for him, potentially. I think my first option for Gilbert Burns, and let's probably go into the rankings because we've not done that yet. Welterweight. Belal now moves in at number 3. Wow. I know. So look, he's there now. And the fact that he's slipped above Hamzat is quite interesting, really. I mean, we still don't know what's going to happen with Hamzat. Hopefully, fingers crossed, the UFC decide it. He did tweet out after the event and said that he's not heard from the UFC. He keeps training and no fights get offered. So I think the UFC is still working out what they want to do with Hamzat and whether they should risk putting him on a headliner, risk him fighting at welterweight again. What matchups could they make at middleweight? And yeah, I think it's been an absolute disaster, to be honest. But fingers crossed he'll be there. Yeah, and Ash is right. Burns did look off, and yeah, I think it was because of Belal switching the stance, which made him look off. And Nolan Zebra says, if Leon pulled out, I wouldn't be surprised if they put an interim belt on the line, and that's a good shout from Nolan. Yeah, let's clap emojis in for Nolan Zebra for a spot on there. I think that's a good shout. My options for Gilbert Burns, though, I mean, what is there for Burns? He's defeated a lot of guys in there. He's defeated the likes of Wonderboy Thompson, who's coming off a win, but he's fighting Michelle Pereira. He's, already fought he's not going to fight Luque, of course. The other real options are Shavkat. Undefeated Shavkat, 17-0. Do you do it? It makes sense. It's the ultimate test for Shavkat, really. I mean, that even throws him in the mix if he beats Burns. And I can kind of perhaps see him do it. I think that's the one where you go, oh, wow. Okay, let's see how he does in title contention. Like, welterweight's hotting up right now. You know, back-to-back submission wins against Jeff Neal and Neil Magny. Gilbert Burns, can he do that against someone like Burns is the ultimate question. Would he have to knock someone out knock out someone like Gilbert Burns? I see it being a decision, but I think it would be a brawl. I really do. Maybe perhaps similar to the Shavkat, similar to the Chimaev fight, perhaps. Ash says, yeah, crazy. Now it's Muhammad next after the title fight. Yeah, and it's a lot of people aren't going to get up for that. Really, it's gonna suck so bad. Yeah, I was shocked with Burns. Says some James and Mabel. What do you reckon of the Shavkat fight? It's either that or you would throw in the winner of Sean Brady and Jack Della Maddalena. I like either of those fights. I really do, because if Tom Brady, if Sean Brady beats JDM, then you're like, okay, you've just defended your ranking. You should be fighting up now. A win against Gilbert Burns puts you right underneath Belal Muhammad, who you just lost to. And I think Sean Brady would get a bit more credit back, of course. But do I see him beating someone like Gilbert Burns? Brady hits hard. He's got great gas tank. He could last Burns. 5-round fight would maybe perhaps favour Brady in that one. But I don't know. Tough fight to call. It really is. And a lot of question marks on Gilbert Burns at the moment. But I wouldn't mind, I wouldn't be mad if Gilbert Burns takes some time out. I think he deserves it. He's been so active as of recent. Apparently he had a bit of a shoulder injury as well, so maybe he's got to heal up from that. So maybe he's going to sit tight for a little while, and maybe some other contenders can come and rise. JDM, I think, is a fantastic fight for him. Can JDM keep it on the feet would be the ultimate question, but JDM's got to get past Sean Brady. And Sean Brady is a tough one for him. I'm nervous for it. And look, I'm a Jack Della Maddalena fan. I want to see him succeed and rise through this welterweight division. I really do. James says, not sure, as I think Burns will take time off. Yep, so he kind of agrees with that a little bit there. Nolan says, JDM is fast becoming one of my favourite fighters. Man, I'm a fan. Like I said, he's an absolute stud. Shows rare signs of weakness, really. You'd expect him being a boxer, that the kickboxing elements of the game and the wrestling area is where he's going to favour, but he's actually been doing well in those areas in previous. George Merry, welcome in, George Merry. Good to see you, my man. This is first time on the channel. If it is, hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit like on the video. He says Belal versus Usman for #1 contender. His victory wasn't convincing enough. Burns had one arm and still couldn't finish him. Wow, so maybe perhaps George is not really a Belal fan and reckons a win against Usman would justify it a bit better. You could be right there. Good shout. Yeah, okay, I like that. Of course, Usman's quite. He said he wants to get back in there quite soon, I think. So, and I think after that UFC 286 pay-per-view, we may have even chucked in a name like Shavkat in there for Usman. But yeah, Belal versus Usman makes sense. Does Belal take the fight is the question, isn't it? I reckon the UFC probably considered doing Hamzat versus Usman. I mean, I really love that. But the rumours, I think there's some back and forth on Twitter about it, about that fight perhaps being at 185. So I really don't know. I would love to see it. I really would. Don't know who's going to win. Tough fight for Usman, I think. I think if Usman loses, it would be ultimate question. 3 in a row for Usman. Woo! But, it's whether or not they do it. It would be a weird one because I think they want to see Chimaev in the title picture, don't they? And if you give him Usman at 185, it doesn't really do anything for you. Again, a win against a former champion, I guess, is a good thing. But you can't really get... Can you really get a title fight after that? At middleweight? Difficult, isn't it? It really is. Muhammad couldn't finish his dinner, to be fair, says Ash. Yeah. Okay, fair play. All right, yeah. Muhammad, okay, yeah. I don't know. I don't know, man. I can't decide what I'd rather see for Muhammad. Maybe it is best for him to wait out. I think he will. I really do. But, of course, I'm not against him fighting someone like Usman. All right. Lovely stuff there. Good chats, as always, guys. If you've just joined us as well, make sure you're known in the chats. Get your opinions heard. This is the channel where fan opinions matter most. And we're going to move into now the main event of that UFC 288 cards, which was Aljamain Sterling picking up the split decision win against a very tough Henry Cejudo, coming back after 3 years. What did you guys reckon? Do you reckon it was a robbery? Do you reckon Henry Cejudo should have won? How did you score it? I reckon it was really, really close. I honestly, watching it, couldn't score it at all. I felt that perhaps maybe Cejudo had done enough to get the win, but fortunately, I haven't had the time to give it a second watch. From what I've read and what I've heard, the people felt that the 5th round was the most convincing one for Cejudo. I think that even Aljo tweeted today saying that he really watched the fight and felt that he won the first 4. Sterling's camp reckoned that he was at least, 3-1 up heading into that 5th round. So, comfortable win. Guys, what did you reckon? I said he had Henry. Again, got to go back and watch it again. Yeah, what do you reckon, James? What do you reckon, Nolan? How did you score it? And the ultimate question, I guess, now is we got to give his coaching team more credit. Is someone like Ray Longo one of the most underrated coaches in the game? I think he is, man. I mean, I listen to the Anna and Florian podcast every single Tuesday. I listen to him, and it really sounds like they've got a really good team over there. A strong team. You could probably put them on par with City Kickboxing, with the like of Ali Quinter and Chris Weidman, Matt Frivola, Merab Dvalishvili, and Dennis Bazooka, and all those guys down there. It's a really tight-knit team. It's good to see. James said, was close fight. I had Henry too. Nolan said, I think Aljo won the fight 3-2. Yep, okay. But he said he was also kind of half asleep. George says 3-2 to Aljo, but 3 years off for Henry shows how good he is. Or did Sterling underestimate him? Good questions from George in there. Good input, my man. Thank you. Yeah, I think perhaps he did. I think looking at it, Henry definitely underestimated Aljo's wrestling, really. Aljo had the better of him on the feet as well, which is quite surprising because Aljo is more of a wrestler, really, in hindsight, because he's got that funky style. It's not really the most technical, cleanest of striking, but it kind of works, what he does. And it's quite effective in a lot of ways. But yeah, his grappling is his strongest asset, and we're going to break down the fight with O'Malley in just a sec, because that's going to be the ultimate talking point of tonight's show, of course, because there's no doubt that fight is going to be next. All right, but let's get into I guess we should probably we'll get into it now. We'll get into a few more chats and then we'll head into it. Nolan says Longo is a legend. Him, Raging Al, Matt Serra are a top corner. Yeah, they work so well, man. And look, who knows where Aljo would be without those? Honestly, it's give a lot of George some love in the chats there. Thank you, George, for your input. Let's get into again. Okay, just a quick look at the rankings before we dive into the Sean O'Malley, Aljamain Sterling breakdown a little bit. A lot have gone down. A lot of movements moving down. Henry Cejudo slots in at number 3. Wow, I did not notice that earlier. Wow. I mean, we're going to get into what's next for Henry Cejudo, because he's had a call out and he's called someone out. But we've got an alternative option. Maybe perhaps he should move up as well. But yeah, stay tuned for that. And of course, thumbs up if you're excited to get into that aspect. Ooh, some 100% emojis flying in there. Lovely stuff. Nolan says, George, I'd probably give the credit to Henry. Hello, by the way. All right, cool. So let's break it down then, this Sean O'Malley fight. When's it going to happen is the ultimate question. Now, Sterling said he would like it to be in September, okay? Which gives him a lot of time to heal and get back into a fight camp. No announcements yet for the August pay-per-view card in Boston, but Dana has come out and said that he would like that fight to be on that card. August, it's not that far away. A couple of months. So are they going to rush Aljo? And does that favour Sean O'Malley? In a lot of ways. Maybe perhaps because O'Malley's been out for a while. He has. George reckons Sterling versus O'Malley, Sandhagen versus Merab. Yeah, we did actually a video on that a little while ago, short video. So make sure you check that out a little bit later on. So that's a good option. I wouldn't mind that fight. And I've listened to the podcast that Corey Sandhagen was in with Joe Rogan, and I do kind of appreciate him more, and I'm a bit more of a fan of Sandhagen now that I've listened to that podcast. So I would love to see Sandhagen get the upset against Merab, because I imagine he would be favourite in that fight. Yeah, rank 3, very interesting, Ash, indeed. Just outside of the next title challenges is Sai. James says, so many good fights in this division. Mate, it does not stop, does it? They keep churning it out and out every single time, and it's banger after banger. But how does this work? MMA Holes in the house. Yes, MMA Holes, can I borrow your accent? We might do some coaching for you guys across the pond in the US. It's possible, but appreciate the love, guys over there. Appreciate you guys, of course. Yeah, maybe hook us up. Get in touch. All right, and let us know, what are you thinking of Sterling versus Sean O'Malley? Who do you reckon takes the win in that one? Should it happen in August? Nolan says, I said Henry Merab the other night. Yes, you did, my man. Nicely done. And of course, Henry did call out Merab, which is very interesting. We're going to get into that in just a sec. But yeah, how does this tail of the tape look then, folks? So Sterling is got the more experience. He's got 23 wins and 3 losses to O'Malley's 16-1-0. He's also the oldest out of the two by quite a bit. You've got Sterling in at number... He's 33 years old, and you've got O'Malley who's 28, but the height factor for O'Malley's 5'11 and Sterling's 5'7, so height advantage there. Only 1 inch reach between the two as well. 72-inch reach for O'Malley and 71 for Aljamain Sterling. Let's get rid of that chat, apology. You've got also that O'Malley's a bit of a switch stance fighter as well. Talked about switch stance fighting a little bit earlier, and how Belal is able to use that effectively to discourage his opponents. Will O'Malley do the same to Aljo? And how is he going to look on the feet? Ultimate questions into this fight is, can O'Malley handle Sterling's wrestling? Because we saw bits of it in the Peter Yan fight. He was able to, yes, he got taken down by Peter Yan, but he was able to get back to his feet in quite quick succession and not allow Peter Yan to get off anything effective. And look, okay, I felt that, given it a second watch around, O'Malley won that fight quite well. And I think maybe, can he do the same against Sterling? It's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell, because Sterling's wrestling is, of course, better than Peter Yan. He's a lot more bigger. He's a lot more physically stronger than Peter Yan, of course, and we saw that. So can he keep O'Malley down and be effective on the ground? And can O'Malley stop Sterling from taking the back? Big questions here. And is O'Malley able to keep it on the feet and pick Sterling apart? This fight gets me so excited. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Look, O'Malley's like Marmite. You either love him or you hate him. I'm very neutral with O'Malley. I must admit, I appreciate him more as a fighter, and appreciate his skill set even more so after that Peter Yan fight. I really do. And of course, it rubbed people the wrong way. People felt that he may have lost that fight. But another question to throw your way is, how does O'Malley look across 5 rounds? Sterling's had that experience, 5 rounds now. or going past, at least past 3 multiple times. So can O'Malley do it? And will his gas tank hold up if Sterling is able to force him into those wrestling exchanges? I don't know. What do you guys reckon? A lot to throw your way. I do apologise. I'm just throwing it your way. Nolan says it's the quickest way to another title shot. I think he was on about Henry versus Merab. Yeah, you're right. It's true. But I've got another option for Henry, which we'll get into in just a sec. George says at Mummy Holes, can we borrow your ticket price? Are you referring to the lessons on British accents? George, don't worry, my man. We'll keep the students coming in this. Don't worry. We'll do our best. Sterling sub round 2, says Ash. Big call early doors for him. It's a good fight for Sterling, but to get a submission win, perhaps. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Nolan says O'Malley obviously struggled against Yarn. Aljo is better than Yarn. MMA maths. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, of course. I mean, you've got to appreciate Aljo a bit more now, of course. He's definitely really sort of come into his own now as a champion. You can really see him hold it better. And he comes into fights a little bit, not as edgy as he used to. He's a little bit more comfortable, and that Sterling fight, that Cejudo fight is evidence of that. James says, I agree, Sterling sub all day. So again, another person going for submission for Sterling. What do we reckon? MMA Holes. Sugar rather wanting to fight the midget cracks me up. Are you referring to Merab there? Perhaps, maybe. Purely because he stole his jacket. I mean, look, that moment was the highlight of the night. It really was. I don't know. I'd like to fight. I'd like to see either, to be fair. But look, Sugar's going to get that next shot. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, give MMA some love there, of course, as well. Slap a like on the video if you've not done so already. Hit that subscribe button as well. Lots to consider for this. I think O'Malley can do well on the feet. I'm predicting another close fight, but again, it could be another fight that goes 5 rounds and it's 3-2 to Sterling. That would be my guess. Would be a 5-round decision. Can he break O'Malley? I don't know, man. Oh, so much to think about. He was. Oh, he's on about Henry. Oh, okay. Rather fight Henry Cejudo. O'Malley. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, that fight could still happen. Fight could still very much happen. But my option for Henry, we got 2 options, which will go in. Well, yeah, 2 options. We'll go into 1 now. We're going to 1 in the new segment in just a sec. Briefly touch upon this. For me, Henry Cejudo, and I'm surprised he wants to stick around. We did think that perhaps maybe he might hang the gloves up after that fight, but he's come out, called Merab out, and seems to want to carry on fighting. For me, Henry Cejudo, I think he's either come back because he wants to break records and cement himself a bit of a legacy, or because he's broke. It could be because he's broke. I mean, judging from the call-outs, it could be possible. Because if you're Henry Cejudo, former champion, double champion at that, would you not fancy moving up the weight class to featherweight, fight someone like Max Holloway, who's not got much options at featherweight? Korean Zombie is his only option. Okay, he called out Zombie. Fair play. Fight someone like Max Holloway. Is it a more easier fight? Maybe Max's size will give him problems there, but Max has got the boxing that he's going to put on display. Cejudo, can he take Max down is the only question there. Beat Max Holloway, it's a ticket to the Volkanovski, right? You want to be quadruple C, beat Max, you fight Volk. If I'm Cejudo, that's what I'm doing. Because that, to me, if you're coming back to break records, you're going to present that to the UFC, surely, that you want to do that. I don't know. That's my take on it. But I'm quite surprised. Yes, I've gone black for a second. Don't worry. So what do you guys reckon to that? Ooh, a couple of chats in. Let's catch up. MMA Hole says, also, we'll definitely drag him around the octagon and finish him. Yeah. for Sterling, of course. Nolan says O'Malley has fast hands. He could catch Aljo, but for me, Aljo has more ways to win, and spot on from Nolan there as well. Nolan's on absolute fire tonight. So is MMA Hole. So is Ash. Ash says, yeah, O'Malley came out and said, hope you beat Sterling. Ooh, okay, he did actually. Okay, yes, spot on. George says, I like O'Malley and his style, but he doesn't have the ground game Sterling does. No, he doesn't. And yeah, I guess it's you'd expect Sterling to be favourite, of course, without doubt, surely. Nolan says Henry got second kid on the way. He definitely needs the money. Yeah, okay. Ash says, yeah, win over Max would be huge. Absolutely. And let's shout out to Angus again as well for chucking that option into the article, which you can find on atfmma.com. But now let's move on to some social kind of news. What news segments that's happened, we'll talk about that one in just a bit. But my first one that we're going to dive into, of course, is Sterling taking Cejudo's blueprint and chase Volk. Interesting. I'm quite surprised by this, to be honest. I wasn't expecting it at all. He reckons that a win against someone like Sean O'Malley would then move up permanently, hopefully. He said, I plan on fighting O'Malley, then going up and chasing Volkanovski. I'm taking Henry's blueprint. I just need to get one more. Then I think that's it for 135. And we've been anticipating this for quite some time now, haven't we? So, yeah, maybe we could see Cejudo stick around at bantamweight, fight Sean O'Malley a little bit afterwards if Sterling beats O'Malley. Yeah, mate, Volk versus Sterling's a hell of a fight, because for me, at featherweight, what's great about Volk is his speed. He's much quicker than these featherweights. Is Aljamain going to be as quick being a bantamweight when he steps into the featherweight division? That's the question for that one. So many interesting thoughts there coming from that one. Nolan says, I think Aljo was always going to move up. Merab takes the belt, and yeah, that paves the way for Merab there. I'm all for it, and I really want that to happen down the road. I think that makes a lot more sense. Look, who knows? We can see Cejudo and Sterling to make the jump. I mean, imagine that. You know, I think if you're Cejudo, you'd be calling out for that Max fight before Sterling even makes that move, personally. But as you can see, the other graphic that we've got on the side there to your right is whether or not should Sterling be considered the bantamweight GOAT? I don't know. You know, you look at his resume, you can make arguments for it. It's a lot of people are probably going to disagree. Do you disagree in the chats? I don't know, man. 14 wins, most in bantamweight history. Got 9-fight winning streak, currently longest in bantamweight history. 4 title fight victories, tied second, most in the division. I'd imagine Dominic Cruz has the most, and 3 consecutive title defenses, which is the most in bantamweight history as well. Fight and just beat Triple C. The only other argument there is Dominic Cruz, because he's already beaten TJ Dillashaw. Yeah, okay, you can, like we said at the watch along, you can make arguments there because TJ wasn't 100% going into that fight. Gutted to see, we're not going to see a rematch. But look, on his resume, that's a win on his resume at the end of the day. Tick. So you've beaten 2 former champions in there. You've not beat Dominic Cruz, but let's face it, look, would Sterling beat Cruz at this current time? Probably yes. Would he beat Prime Cruz? Hard to tell. Of course, former champion Peter Yan as well, where he was belt off of. Arguably, look, is there any denying him? What do you guys reckon? Ash says, I just can't see anyone beat Volk. Okay, yeah, me neither. James says, yeah, Volk is too good. Same Ash, he's phenomenal, says Nolan. On paper, he has big names. It's true. So what do you reckon? Is Aljamain the bantamweight GOAT? Look, I think it's a big call. It really is a big call. I don't really want to say. I want to say yeah. Okay, I'm going to throw it out there. I'm going to say yeah. What do you guys reckon? Tough. It's tough if you're an Aljo hater, I'm afraid. But that is what it is. All right, we'll move on then to the next one. Bosh, wrong one. Which of course is the call out that Henry Cejudo received following the weekend, and it's Brandon Moreno. You know, he wants to fight in Mexico as well. Will it happen is the ultimate question, though. I honestly can't see it. I can't see it. I don't think it will. I don't think Cejudo will want to fight a flyweight. I think it'd be good for Mexico. Is Sterling the nice guy to do that, though? I don't know. Is it a more winnable fight for Sterling? Maybe. But the Assassin Baby says, don't retire yet. Please wait for me. I'm going to win my fight in July, and then we can finish business. Main event in Mexico City. I can be 135 pounds. F the belts. Just you and me in the octagon. I don't really want to see it. It doesn't move the needle for me. It doesn't, I'm afraid. And look, I like Brandon Moreno. I think he needs to concentrate on Pantoja, because Pantoja's the dog. And is that fight that exciting? Could you put it as a main event in Mexico? Maybe a fight night, but these guys fight on pay-per-views. It's a tough call in Mexico City. I think you need to put a Mexican champion on the line in that one. If you lose, that fight's not going to happen. If you win, it's got some legs to it, but the UFC would rather put a title fight on. And if you're going to do it at bantamweight, then it's pointless. I don't know. Yeah, sorry, Brandon. I'm all out on that one. Not for me. Nolan says another win, and it'd be hard to argue against Aljo being the GOAT. And there you go. There you have it. So he kind of agrees there. Yeah, beats O'Malley. You got to. Nolan says they used a train together, then had a wee falling out. So Henry said, "Oh, okay. Oh, yes, I do remember that. Do vaguely remember that. And I think that was before he went to James Krause. We will have a new flyweight champion," says Ash. So that's a big call from Ash there. Woo! But anyhow, moving on to the next image graphic that you can see on the right, which is, of course, the call-out, Cejudo Merab. He says, this shit is far from over. Dana White, I want Merab Dvalishvili's head on a plate. So, judging from that call-out, for me, it means that he's not necessarily up for breaking records. Unless he sees it as a fact that you need one more win, and then he can get back on that path again. And someone like Merab, who's absolutely killing it in the division, who shows no signs of weakness, or barely any signs of weakness. He's got cardio for days. Maybe that is the one to make. I'd like to see it happen. I think it's a tough fight for Cejudo. I'd edge Merab in that one, I'm afraid. Just purely because of that last performance against Sterling. And, of course, Merab's got better cardio than Sterling, isn't he? So he's going to be relentless and just drag Cejudo into deep waters, and I think he's going to struggle. Cejudo's tough, though. Got to give him credit. But, not for me, I'm afraid. And the third topic of the night that we're going to be talking about is the champ. The welterweight champ, Leon Edwards, piping up after the co-main event. And he's saying, honestly, I don't care who I fight next. This whole division is light work. So, the ultimate question there is he now open for the Colby fight or any fight at welterweight division? He must be. You know, if you're going to come up with a statement like that, because he dug his heels in the ground after his win against Usman and says, look, I don't want to fight Colby. Colby doesn't deserve it. This, that, and the other. Give me someone else. So, look, maybe they are in cahoots and talking about making that fight happen maybe in September. Could be in October. I think, if I remember rightly, Leon did say he'd want to fight in October. And look, there's the headshot dead chance there from Ash. James says, yeah, true. If he beats Merab, he could get back in line. It's true. But easy said than done, as Merab is a beast. Yeah. I mean, what do you guys reckon? What's the better option for Cejudo then? Let's get back onto that topic. Do you think you can move up and fight Max, or do you think you should stay at bantamweight and fight Merab, and then either option gives you a title fight? What do you reckon? But yeah, I think back on the Leon Edwards side of things, I think we're going to get that fight announcement the next 2 months. Fingers crossed. Look at me now. So the Leon Edwards quotes are rolling in now. Yes, we got some Leon Edwards fans in there. We got some fans in there. Now, the other image that we got from the post-fight image, should I say, is just the Women's MMA Rankings account, just clarifying, touching upon what was spoken about in the MMA Hour, that Dana White is looking into hosting Weili Zhang versus Yan Xiaonan for the UFC strawweight title in China. So, look, fingers crossed, like we said earlier, fingers crossed that happens. It'd be great for China. Put on a title fight. Fancy Weili's chances in that one. I do. I think it's another win for Weili, and she's, amazing. I still want to see her fight Shevchenko. Still gunning for that. Don't let him bully you, man, says Ash. But yeah, I think that is... Oh, no, we did have a bonus one. I do apologise. And it's just based on the call out from Matt Frivola. Again, another call out to Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett answered and goes... I think he answered to someone else who kind of may have questioned the Frivola fight. It's a bit of a weird time to call me out when I can't even train like... But yeah, I'd fight Frivola when I'm back, probably the easiest route into the top 15. Ooh, stars might align for Paddy Pimblett now, and that is going to upset a lot of people. If that fight gets made, it's, look, fair play to Frivola. He gets what he wanted, what he's been calling out for ages, for like a year or two now. But if Paddy wins and it's controversial again and he enters the rankings, oh my God, there's going to be so much hate. There's going to be so much hate. I mean, even if he wins convincingly, people are still going to find something to slate Paddy for. And look, if I'm Matt Frivola, I think he's got to look past Paddy now. He really does. Fight someone who's a bit more well-rounded and... he's going to have a tougher fight against. Personally, I do. I just want to see Paddy... My opinion, I want to see Paddy heal from the injury, take some time to work on some skills, not be too ahead of himself, and, fine-tune his striking a bit before we see him back in the octagon. Otherwise, we can easily see him get flatlined. Because Jared Gordon landed some good shots on him, but Jared Gordon, he looks like he throw hard, but he's not got the resume, he's not got the knockouts to prove that. And, I don't know. George says, Scousers don't get knocked out is the statement that's on the line. That shot on Dober was nasty. Yes, it was. It was. And look, I knew that Frivola was going to get that knockout. Like I said earlier, I felt Dober has more tools, had more tools than Frivola and is more experienced. But I just knew that Frivola was going to get the knockout. James said, Paddy sub. Can he sub Frivola? Frivola's a beast, man. He's so tough. He's a thick dude. Well, he's not thick, but he's strong. I can't see Paddy subbing him. I think it'd be a Frivola decision win, personally. But look, props to Frivola for getting some more money in that one. What do you guys reckon? All right, I'm going to head back to the main screen then. We're going to close one. Sorry, my bad. Not yet. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. As always, let's wrap up this Aftermath show and get a few more comments in. But before we do, make sure you guys have popped that notifications bell on the channel, because what we've got coming up this watch long is going to be the best one yet. Yes, like we said earlier, there is going to be a fighter joining us on the sofa from the prelims as well. Fingers crossed, if he's on time. I'm sure he'll be on time. He'll be all right. Yakuza UFC light heavyweight. Check for the announcement later on. It'll be ring the bell on the Twitter pages as well as the YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel as well. And yes, make sure you are there this weekend. It's an earlier start time. for us in the UK and for you guys across the pond as well. I believe the prelims start 4:30 BST. So make sure that you are there for that. Have I got a window here just to double check the times for you guys? I might have. Bear with. No, I don't. I don't. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be an absolute fun one. Like I said earlier, we're going to have the spinning wheel game. The fun will never stop. We're going to have things on there like take a leg kick, sparring for a couple of seconds, 10 seconds or whatever. Dirty pints, shots, all sorts of things happening in there as well. Of course, the fighter's going to be drinking with us for a little bit, not for too long. So, yeah, if you want to make him 2 shots, you probably best to get him going from early. So make sure you're tuning in from the start of the prelims. That's probably the best time to start watching. And, yeah, stick around, of course. It's going to be a long 6 hours. But we're going to make the fights even more enjoyable for you guys, because that's what we do here on Against the Fence. I'm still scrolling for these start times. Marcel's like normally the man to do it, but he's not put this poster out in a while. But yeah, 4:30 is going to be the time. Make sure you're there. Make sure you're square. There we go. That's better. 8 p.m. will be the prelim. So 11:30 over in Eastern time. 8:30 Pacific time. That's AM. 8:30 in the morning for you guys across the pond. Wow. Okay, wake up and watch the fights. That's all you need to do Saturday, guys. Notice the top stream, lads. Cheers, lads. Top stream as always. Yes, can't wait. Boys can't wait, says James MMA. A fighter on the sofa with you is going to be crazy. Absolutely. See you Saturday, guys, says Nolan. George says, great UK MMA show. Keep up the content. Thanks, George. Thanks for tuning in for the first time, my man. Look, you got to be there for this weekend, of course. Tune into your first watch along. Mate, your first watch along with us. Oh, this is going to be the best one as well. I mean, of course, tune in after that, but it's going to be an absolute ride. Yeah. Lovely stuff, guys. Thanks for tuning in as always. Stay safe, and we'll see you at the weekend. Ciao for now.